Welcome to Beauty and the Gi, the podcast about jiu-jitsu and life on and off the mat. I'm Jen Eads, a white belt full of curiosity and questions about all the things jiu-jitsu.
And I'm AJ Klingerman, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu.
And it's good to be back
Yeah.
doing a podcast together.
Right?
I've missed you.
I know, I've missed you too. I've missed talking to everybody too. Like I feel like I've missed our people.
Exactly. And I think speaking of our people, before we get too far into this, we should just shout out some of our listeners that have DM'd us and shared stuff on Instagram, because this time of year on Instagram, every time you share a post about Beauty and the Gi, an angel gets a stripe.
That's great.
Okay, so shout outs to Cassie and Deanna and Sarah and Lillian.
Nice.
Yeah. And we also had a question too about compression shorts. You want to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah. So Rachel was asking, I think, just about compression shorts. For me, what I tend to wear under my gi is like spats that tie. I don't like ones that don't tie. And if I don't have spats that tie, it's typically when I'm wearing like a singlet. So I don't really wear just like a normal compression short. I do like Girl has some compression shorts. They don't have ties in them though, and I just get nervous. Girl has a new singlet though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So that's an option. And then Virus also has new singlets out. They have several different ones. So those are some options.
All right, there we go. And what are we talking about in this episode, AJ?
2020.
Yay!
I don't think that's the reaction most people give about 2020.
Probably not. So I think it's nice that we can maybe give it some perspective, at least from our perspective.
Yeah. And obviously, absolutely, lots of garbage stuff happened this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's, we're not saying that 2020 wasn't a bit of a dumpster fire. We're not saying that.
Right.
But I think that, what you focus on is really important. So where there were some definite scary times, and we're still in scary times,
yeah.
I think that it's important to focus on the good things that happened in 2020.
What surprised you about 2020?
Well, I mean, a pandemic.
Right. Okay. Amidst the dumpster fire.
Right.
What surprised you?
I think, I don't know if it surprised me, but just a pleasantry of it was how adaptable we all were. Mm-hmm. That we were willing to find a way, basically.
Right.
The moment our school got shut down, that day we were on Zoom. And, a lot of people did a lot of different things, but we Zoomed to anybody. So it didn't matter where you were in the world, we had people watching our classes. So it was nice to just be able to do that, having that technology and the fact that we would pivot so quickly. And
I loved it too, just from the aspect of, it's like you go from seeing everybody to nobody. And
Right.
At least on Zoom, it was a way to still just kind of check in and see your people and still get a little bit of that connection I didn't feel like just completely alone then.
yeah. And, kind of this isn't an ad for Zoom, I swear. But I Zoomed several times with my family this year, and that's never something we've done. We've
Right.
gotten together for Christmas and Thanksgiving, every year in the past, which we're not doing this year.
Yeah.
But, we'd never just Zoomed for people's birthdays and stuff. And so it was really nice to get to actually see them on a more regular basis because of technology.
I was surprised too, and I shouldn't be, but man, people got so creative.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think even on social media, just some of the things that you saw on TikTok and people just start at least trying to find the fun and the joy in it.
Yep.
And in learning new technology and tools to be oh, hey, let's try this. Let's try that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a highlight for me. We know that you came fully prepared with an entire list of things.
Yeah.
So run us through that and I'll chime in periodically.
Sounds great. So, I just jotted down just 2020 highlights. That was my thing. And I was just jotting it down. And when I got to the end, I had 20, which I did not number them first. I didn't, I was but that's so on brand for me.
Right.
20 highlights for 2020. That's the most me thing. But okay, so I'll just kind of run down. And these are in no particular order. These were just kind of the things that I was like thinking of as they came up. I definitely got more time with my best friend, Risser. And we went on tons of adventures. So that was great. We bought kayaks. That was definitely one of the highlights. Just being able to slow down a little bit. I am definitely that like hustle mentality all the time.
Same.
So to like be able to set better boundaries and just kind of ease up a little bit. I started lifting with Jess. So that was great. I'm really working with her even more now. Like we're doing very private client type stuff where I'm sending her videos of all of my lifts and talking to her and addressing things just because of injuries that aren't healing well. So I had to get a little more one-on-one with her. So yeah, that's good.
Do you think that would have happened without the pandemic?
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to lift, sure. But I don't know if I would have like invested so much time in it or even been able to put so much thought into it for myself. Like I'm very much like, I can do that. It's fine. I can do it despite being in pain.
Right.
Also, another part is like getting closer with Risser. Like she's able to go, hey, this isn't going great for you. Maybe you should back off a little bit. Or, the question she asks me almost every day when I say something, she's like, have you told Jess that? Have you told Jess that?
I'm so glad you've got a grown up in the room.
Right. Thank God. I'm very blessed to have her. And I know it's stressful for her because she doesn't want to like nag me or whatever. Right. But I need an advocate sometimes. Like it's hard to be your own advocate sometimes. That was one of the highlights I wrote down too, is I started counseling this year.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't think I would have done. I mean, one of the biggest things I wanted to address was my dad killing himself. And that was 10 years ago. Yeah. And I just I'd done therapy a couple times in the past, but not in the last 10 years. And so I think had I not taken that time to like slow down a little bit, I wouldn't have realized how much it was affecting me still.
Yeah.
And then you get into counseling and you realize how much everything is affecting you. And, like with the pandemic type stuff and with being shut down, it made it a lot easier to do something like, I'm doing it through BetterHelp, which is just an online therapy thing. So it just made it more of a normal thing and not feeling like I had to go see a therapist and take that time.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's definitely been something helpful.
Yeah.
I've formed a lot of new friendships this year, and that came from the Zoom, like from us opening up to anyone. Like I'd post on the Women's Grappling Network, anybody that wants to join us.
Nice.
So like, Cheryl Spear, Tara Mathis, Sarah Vanek, Michelle Siska, like a lot of those friendships were enhanced this year because of, or just made this year because of it. So
yeah.
Also a lot of, new friends at the school, like new women training especially. So I'll give them shout outs real fast. Kelly just started this year. I feel like Kelly and I have been friends forever now, but she just started in January. January seems like a million years ago.
Because it was.
Yeah. Another lifetime. And Katie and Lauren and Taylor and Jade, we just a lot of new women at the school. It's been really nice. A lot of great books this year.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely, going back to that slowing down, like had more time to read. With being shut down, we did like book clubs.
Nice.
Right? So we got to like get online with our friends and do Zoom book clubs and got into Brene Brown a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
And then I read The Unbearable Lightness of Being. And so you want to talk about race. You also recommended The Art of the Gathering to me, which I read this year. I'm reading a book right now called Becoming Bulletproof. And that's really good. It's like self-defense physically and mentally.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's written by I think she was in the CIA, Secret Service maybe. I don't know the difference. But yeah, it's really, really good so far. So pans obviously has to be considered a highlight.
Yeah.
And then
let's go into a little more detail about that.
Sure. Okay. We won pans. Brister and I both did. And just a great trip. Like it just felt like exactly what we needed. Just a little getaway. And, I don't know. It was great. It was just, I don't know how much more to go into it. We did a PANS recap and stuff. If you haven't listened to that episode, you should go back and listen to that. Just kind of talking about like everything from being able to like hear people, right? Hear the coaching, have thoughts during the match. Yeah, but Pans was great. Like it also feels like a million years ago, and it was just a couple months. But
Yeah.
That was a definitely highlight of the year for sure. Camp. Yeah. Obviously, we still pulled off role model camp, and that was amazing. Some things had to change for it for sure, but I think it went so great. And I made a lot of friends through camp, and, getting to learn from Nikki and Hillary and always Rachel and James, but, I'm biased. But, right. But yeah, it was really, really great. So, and I am so looking forward to camp next year. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit coming up. Let's see. Oh, Risser getting her purple belt. I put on my list of highlights. Probably more of a highlight for me than her. But that made me very happy. Like she deserves it. And she's freaking amazing. She hates every bit of this podcast right now. But she's a great leader at the school. Absolutely. Right. Both for male and female. So right now, James is teaching primarily at endurance, and I've kind of become the head coach at IBJJA, which is interesting. Like we have several black belt guys there, but I tend to be the one to teach. I know the curriculum better than almost anyone, as does Risser, which is super helpful. Right. So, we can go through things ahead of time, make sure I'm not missing any details. But, she's just been very helpful as being like the co-head of the school. She took my role. I took James's. And yeah. So yeah, it's been really good. So having her as a purple belt, was a big highlight for me. Taught my first workshop at IBJJA. I also included just like how close our women's team has gotten. Like we've really built a good women's team this year. The new role model gear and the website, like having your brand on something is just so much fun. Like I love seeing everyone in their rash guards. Right. I love it so much. And like every single time, like I see a picture of somebody doing something, I'm always like comment like, I love your rash guard.
It's cool.
It's so cool. It's just a really cool thing. And then the new website I'm very excited about. So I'm excited to be able to sell all that gear on our website and take registrations. And yeah, it's nice. I got into some new music this year. Let's talk about new music. Okay. The Chicks came out with a new album. Taylor Swift with a couple albums. Oh my God. Like the pandemic has really given us some new music. Right. Very pleased by that.
Yeah. I am just especially this last one. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And then I watched that special on Disney about the folklore sessions.
Oh yeah?
On Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
So when you finish watching The Mandalorian, then you watch Taylor Swift. And it was fascinating how just the collaboration that happened, again, through the technology. And it's not like she was doing anything else.
Right.
And what else are you going to do as a creative, as a musician?
Yeah. I mean, you can't go on tour right now, so you don't have that like same performance aspect.
Yeah.
I love it. I wish more people would give us more music in this time, but I love it. Here for it.
And what was really cool is that she set up a studio in her house and she's using moving blankets for acoustic. And I'm like, I got moving blankets like Taylor Swift. I felt validated in that moment.
Exactly. That's awesome. Also, I loved your song that you put out recently. You put out the Hey Princess song.
Oh, yeah. So well, since Taylor put out 2 records, I was like, I could at least put a song out.
Right? Yeah. Give us more, Jen Eads. Give us more.
I would do that. And I got inspired because a friend sent me a comic book because he knows that I love Princess Leia. Mm-hmm. He stuck a note in it and said, can you work this into a song? And I was like, oh, that sounds like a challenge.
Yeah.
And yes, I will work this into a song. And I wrote it and I was like, this doesn't suck, which for me is very,
that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So maybe I'll throw that at the end of the episode. If you listen all the way through, it won't sound great because I recorded it in the bathroom and now my arm is in a sling. So we're just going to pull it off the live video, but I'll throw that at the end of the episode for anybody that wants to hear it.
Nice. I love it. I did take some guitar lessons, speaking of music. Not good at it. I didn't finish a song, but I learned part of one song.
What'd you learn?
Part of Melissa Etheridge, Shaking, which I love that song.
Yeah.
I never learned the little like bridge or whatever. I don't know. The hard part. I learned a lot, you can tell.
Bridges are really overrated.
Right. Just skip that part. Just let her go and then I'll come back in.
Yeah, exactly. I know somebody that might be able to help you work through that.
Right. I would like that. I really need to at least finish the song. So I have like one song that I know. Although by now I've forgotten it. I probably need to start over. It was like April. That was a year or two ago.
Right. We're just going to put that on the 2021 goal list.
Goals. That's a great plan. We celebrated 20 years in business this year.
Did you really?
Yeah. And it was March 3rd. So that definitely feels like, it was pre-pandemic. So it was, the pandemic was already starting. We just didn't know it yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was definitely a highlight. Like 20 years in business. I'm not even that old.
Right. How did
I'm just kidding. I am. I got to train with Courtney Olson from Girl. That was a lot of fun. I wrote an ebook. I wrote a business book. So a lot of good things this year.
So really, you're saying Taylor Swift has nothing on you in terms of output?
No, she definitely does. Because I could not do anything she does. I can't write music, I can't play music, and I can't sing music. So,
but you can write books and teach jiu-jitsu.
But that I can do. Yeah, could totally beat Taylor Swift up. Other than that,
I think we need to invite her to get on the mat.
Oh, that'd be great.
Wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's always fun to me when I see, like when KO wanted to do jiu-jitsu, like something like that. Like it's always fun for me to see, Dana Lynn Bailey, from Run Everything. Like she's a big lifter out in, Montana. Good gracious. Dana Lynn Bailey out from Montana. She's a big lifter and she does Run Everything. She's been doing a little jiu-jitsu. Like it's just fun to see people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because it's the best thing ever.
It really is. It really is. We don't have to convince our people that are hearing this. At least I don't think. I love jiu-jitsu so much.
Me too.
Just like your shirt says.
Right.
She's wearing an elf Christmas shirt that says, I just love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is my favorite.
And it is.
Right? Uh-huh. So what are some of your highlights?
Some of my highlights most recently were shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm podcasting in a sling and haven't been on the mat in ages.
Yeah.
But I feel really grateful, number one, to have insurance.
Yes.
And that I could get this done. And it was an impingement. And the doctor said it's not going to get any better. It's eventually going to be a tear.
Yeah.
So, why not just get it taken care of now while the recovery time is shorter?
Right.
And we'll see what that actually looks like very soon. And it was weird, just kind of going back to that whole slowing down. I had surgery on Friday and I did nothing Saturday and Sunday but just sit and veg and listen to things and, watch some TV and listen to some Taylor Swift. And just that slow down, it was so nice. And because I do think sometimes, we forget to take care of ourselves and the universe just hits you over the head with a hammer. And it's like, here you go. You're not paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
if you're not going to do it on your own, I'm going to force you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you got the surgery.
I am too. And then one of the other things that I really enjoyed about this year was just spending more time in nature.
Yeah.
We were out on the boat or at Eagle Creek Park just all the time.
Yeah.
Which is probably where we would have wanted to be anyway.
Right.
But there would have been more distraction.
Things to do.
And so to not have the distraction and just to really go and just float around and do nothing and wait for the eagles to come and hang out.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm so appreciative of that.
Yeah, I love it. That's getting outside more, like more hiking and kayaking and stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
See, guys, 2020 may have been a dumpster fire, but it was still a great year.
Right. I think we can always find something, and it gets really hard, especially depending on what your circumstances have been and jobs and childcare. And I don't have a lot of the additional stresses that I've seen a lot of my friends have, especially the ones with kids and homeschooling and then trying to work and do all the things. And I've just been amazed at, it's not that they aren't struggling at points, but they are getting it done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, you know, like that's a big thing that I think this year has shown us is how resilient we are.
Yes.
We can do this. We can make it. We can do what needs to be done. And I know a lot of people are struggling with doing the right thing, doing what needs to be done. But, you know, I think that we've really shown that we can come together and do good.
And just to see people, especially like with all the social justice stuff that's going on and has really become at the front of a lot of things, to see people that want to do good, they're like, oh, I probably wasn't paying attention to this and I should have been.
Right. Yeah.
And to see people want to come together and do things and help has been, I think, one of the bright spots in the year.
Yep. Yep. It's definitely been inspiring. And it's been inspiring to like help educate myself more and other people more. And it's been good for that. Yeah. And it is, I think it really like, we were just talking about, you know, like with your shoulder of the universe being like, you have to slow down. Yeah. Kind of feels like what the universe did to the whole world this year. It was like, all right, time to slow down. You know, things are getting crazy. You're going to have to back off. And because of that, we were able to hear things that we weren't paying attention to before.
Exactly.
Not enough attention.
Yeah. Do you have more on your list?
Nope, that's it. I got through all of them.
Through all 20.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I skipped anything.
And I got through all of mine.
Great.
Of course, I didn't make a list of 20, but nobody's really surprised by that. And we made podcasts.
We did. We hit our 100th episode. That was great.
And I've just been so excited. I mean, I don't know that any of y'all listening really know how exciting it is to get tagged on Instagram or Facebook or to see somebody share it and know that, oh, that really helped me or that made a difference.
Absolutely. That I love that when they're like, they post about it on Women's Grappling Network or something and they're, you know, just telling how they're not doing it for us, you know, like they're doing it just to tell other people like this helped me. Yeah. And I think it could help others. And I love that.
That is my most favorite thing about podcasting.
Yes, absolutely.
And why we show up almost every other week to make it happen.
We do our best. We do. And
we do.
And that is one thing that like I think it's important for all of us to keep in mind is that everybody's just doing the best that they can with what they have.
Any on and off the mat for this week?
I think it would be great for people to make a list of any number, you know, any number of things, but just sit down and make a list of the highlights of your year. Like really think about the silver linings.
I love it. If you've got any questions or if you want to share your favorite episodes or you've got any feedback, make sure that you connect with us on Instagram. You can find us there at Beauty in the Gi Podcast. I'm hanging out at Brassy Broad Jen.
And I'm AJ Klingerman, everywhere you go.
And we love to hear from you and send us a message and we'll give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. And keep spreading the word. And we will see you on the mat.
Hey princess, you can't go home now. Life as you know it was blown to bits. Now you're picking up the pieces, picking up pieces. They made you watch and said it's your fault. This is what happens when you resist. You know all the secrets, you got all the secrets. Stay in the fight. Keep hope alive. Hey princess, it's up to you now. There's so few that still remain. The stakes are getting higher, stakes are getting higher. From the shadows in the darkness, you're the spark that lights the flame. Setting all the fires, burning down empires. Stay in the fight. Keep hope alive. Stay in smile.